Morning in America often begins with a quiet sigh no one hears. An older American opens the new electricity bill and sees the numbers climb again. 12, 15, in some states, even 18% higher than last year. Outside the window, traffic honks endlessly, a soundtrack that never turns off. And in the middle of all that noise, the people who spent their entire lives working hard now simply want peace, yet what they receive is just another layer of regulation. In America today, living off-grid has become almost a crime. States that were once open and free, Florida, Colorado, California, are now tightening rules so aggressively that many people face fines of up to $2,500 just for disconnecting from the power grid, even when they generate clean solar energy from their own rooftops. Those who want to grow their own food are monitored. Those who want to simplify life are burdened. And those who want quiet are pushed deeper into a world of rising costs and constant pressure. It's no surprise that according to AARP 2024, 75% of Americans over 55 say they wish they could find a place that is quieter, cheaper, and less controlled. A place where they can sleep without worrying about bills and wake up without the noise stealing their peace. And then a question rises like a beam of light breaking through that heavy sky. What if I told you that outside the United States, there are countries that give you more freedom than America ever has in your entire lifetime? Places where you can own land, dig your own well, grow your own food, slow down, and actually live legally safely with no one interfering. In today's video, Discover Globe Places. Top 10 will take you to 5 countries where off-grid living isn't an act of rebellion, it's a respected way of life. Places with low costs, warm climates, welcoming communities, safety, and residency paths that are surprisingly simple for Americans. And if you're looking for a place to live the rest of your life on your own terms, the answer may be waiting somewhere in this list. Off-grid does not mean being poor, struggling, or hiding in the wilderness. Off-grid simply means taking back the control that modern life quietly took away. It's sunlight turning into electricity on your own roof, clean water coming from your own well, and meals grown from the small garden behind your home, not from an expensive supermarket miles away. It's a way of living where low costs come with deep peace, where your mornings begin with the sound of the wind instead of another bill, where you no longer feel watched, pressured, or defined by a system that never slows down. For people who have worked their entire lives off-grid isn't a fantasy, it's a gentle kind of freedom. And for retirees, the benefits are even clearer: less stress, less noise, fewer unnecessary expenses. Better health, simply because you breathe cleaner air. A lighter mind because you no longer have to keep up with anyone. And a life that finally moves at the pace your 60 or 70-year-old heart truly needs. Off-grid is not leaving the world behind. Off-grid is living a life the world no longer knows how to give you. 5. Nicaragua. One of the cheapest and least regulated off-grid paradises in the Americas. Nicaragua is a country many Americans have heard of in passing. Those who actually set foot here admit something quietly profound. This is one of the last places in the Western Hemisphere where freedom still feels untouched. If you want wide-open land, warm weather, year-round, relaxed building rules that don't suffocate you, and costs so low they almost feel unreal, Nicaragua is the answer countless retirees never knew they were searching for. The biggest attraction is simple rural land is unbelievably cheap. In many areas, an acre costs only $800 to $2,000, making it one of the lowest-priced markets on Earth. The amount of money that buys you a small garage in Florida can buy you an entire plot of land here, enough to build a wooden home plant, a garden, and live with the sound of the wind instead of the sound of traffic. Solar power is 100% legal, fully allowed, and no one forces you to connect to the national grid. Wells are common, and digging your own usually doesn't require the bureaucratic nightmare people face in the United States. This is self-sufficiency in its purest form, clean, peaceful, and truly your own. When it comes to cost of living, Nicaragua ranks among the lowest in Latin America. An off-grid lifestyle here typically costs $350 to $550 per month. You don't chase rising bills, you don't drown in hidden service fees, and you don't fight the financial stress that seems built into American life. Even a modest Social Security check is often enough to live comfortably, not by lowering your standard of living, but by redefining it simpler, healthier, quieter, and more human. The residency process for Americans is surprisingly simple. All you need is a monthly income of $600 or more, including Social Security, to qualify for residency for 1 to 5 years. After that, you can transition into permanent residency if you choose. Income from the United States is not taxed by Nicaragua, a huge relief for retirees looking to stretch their money without punishment. And with low consumption taxes, everyday expenses remain light and manageable. Healthcare is another pleasant surprise. Nicaragua's private medical system is far more affordable than many expect. A private doctor's visit costs only $15 to $25, and prescription medication is often 40–60% cheaper than in the United States. Because of the low cost, many retirees find they can finally take proper care of their health without worrying about whether a checkup will hurt their bank account. Of course, no place is perfect. Rural life becomes easier and much more enjoyable if you know a bit of Spanish, just enough to talk to neighbors, ask questions, or bring someone to fix a pipe or a roof. And some remote regions still have unreliable internet. But for those who truly want an off-grid life, these are minor trade-offs, and for many, they're part of the charm. Nicaragua isn't a place you move to in order to impress anyone. It's a place you move to in order to let go. Let go of noise. Let go of pressure. Let go of the regulations and expectations that have exhausted you for decades. And in the quiet of this country, many older Americans rediscover something they lost long ago: the right to live at the rhythm of their own breath. Laos, Southeast Asia, slow living, low cost, abundant forest land, and light regulations. Laos is one of the rare places in Asia where time seems to slow down. Life here moves gently, and you can actually hear the small details again: the soft rush of the river, the wind brushing through bamboo leaves, and the quiet rhythm of small villages tucked between mountains. For older Americans who feel exhausted by the noise pressure and rising costs of the West, Laos feels like a soft chair waiting exactly where they've always wanted to rest. In many rural areas, owning 2–5 acres of land costs only $6,000 to $15,000, a price that has almost disappeared everywhere else in the world. These pieces of land often sit near rivers, forests, or the peaceful dirt paths connecting one village to another. Locals commonly build traditional wooden or bamboo homes, and the government does not burden people with heavy construction rules. Independent solar systems are fully legal, giving you the freedom to live self-sufficiently without anyone checking what you're doing or imposing unnecessary permits. The cost of off-grid living in Laos surprises many. With $300 to $500 per month, you can maintain a complete and comfortable lifestyle. Simple meals, fresh produce, low daily expenses, and a way of living that doesn't push you toward constant consumption. It's one of the cheapest countries in Asia, second only to Nepal. Many retirees who once spent thousands per month in the US often say their life in Laos feels strangely lighter, financially, emotionally, and spiritually. For residency, Laos offers a relatively relaxed system for older foreigners. Long-stay visas can be renewed in 3 to 12-month cycles, allowing you to settle in without the stress of constantly leaving the country. Small investments or retirement-based applications can qualify you for long-term stay permits generally without the complicated layers you'd find in neighboring countries. The government also encourages rural living, natural farming, and eco-lodges, so foreigners who contribute to local communities are usually welcomed rather than scrutinized. Healthcare in Laos is simple but affordable. Private doctor visits typically cost $10 to $15, and medicine prices are similar to Vietnam and far cheaper than in the US. For more serious medical needs, locals and expats usually go to Thailand, only a short drive across the border, where hospitals offer international standards at about 80% less than US prices. Of course, Laos has its limitations. Infrastructure develops slowly. Internet access isn't always stable, and the long rainy season can make roads harder to travel. But for those seeking a quiet, slower, more heartfelt way of life, these are not obstacles, but part of the natural rhythm of the place. Laos is not where you go to chase luxury. It's where you go to rediscover your inner quiet, where you can live near a river. Grow your own vegetables, power your home with the sun, and no one questions how you choose to live the rest of your life. 3. Mexico, rural regions. Not Cancun, but the quiet, warm, affordable rural areas where retirees can live off-grid legally and freely. Mexico becomes a completely different world once you leave the tourist zones behind. No more resort music, no more crowded streets or inflated prices. In the rural regions, Mexico reveals itself as a wide, peaceful landscape of rolling hills, open fields, small rivers, and communities that live at a gentler rhythm. And it is here, far from the noise, where many Americans find the off-grid life they once thought wasn't possible. Few people realize that rural land in Mexico remains surprisingly affordable, $4,000 to $12,000 per acre, depending on the state. Oaxaca, Chiapas, and Veracruz are among the cheapest and most scenic areas, known for their warmth, local culture, and an authenticity that hasn't been replaced by tourism. For far less than what it costs to rent an old apartment in California, you can own enough land to grow fruit trees, build a small home, and live a life that is truly your own. Solar energy in Mexico isn't just accepted, it's encouraged. Many rural areas don't require you to connect to the public grid, and no one bothers you with layers of paperwork the way US municipalities often do. Combined with the fact that fruits and vegetables are 3 to 5 times cheaper than in the United States, off-grid living here typically costs only $400 to $700 per month, depending on how much you grow yourself. The residency process is another major advantage. Temporary residency is quite accessible for anyone earning $2,000 plus month in income or holding around $35,000 in savings. After 4 years, you can transition into permanent residency, allowing you to stay indefinitely without visas or renewals. It's no surprise that hundreds of thousands of American retirees already live in Mexico, forming supportive, welcoming expat communities that blend naturally with local life. Mexico also offers one of the best private healthcare systems in Latin America. Cities like Guadalajara, Mexico City, and Mérida host international standard hospitals with modern equipment, English-speaking doctors, and transparent pricing. A private doctor visit usually costs $20 to $30, and medical services are generally quick and straightforward without the long waits or shocking bills common in the US. Of course, safety must be addressed honestly. Mexico is vast, and every state is different. Some states face cartel activity, but that reality does not represent the entire country. Many rural regions are peaceful, friendly, and home to long-standing American communities. Choosing the right area with a stable expat presence and good local ties is the key to living safely and comfortably. Rural Mexico is not where you go for bright lights or endless entertainment. It is where you go for quiet mornings, simple meals made from your own garden, and a kind of freedom most Americans haven't felt in decades. For many in their 60s and 70s, this isn't just a new destination. It's a second life, one they often wish they had discovered sooner. 2. Montenegro. A peaceful, beautiful corner of Europe with extremely easy rules for off-grid living. Montenegro is one of Europe's best-kept secrets, a small country on the Adriatic where steep mountains meet crystal blue water, and the silence feels like something you haven't heard in years. What makes Montenegro special for retirees isn't just its beauty, but the feeling that you're living in Switzerland. At Balkan, prices gentle, manageable, and surprisingly within reach. In the rural areas, land is still spacious and affordable. An acre costs $7,000 to $22,000, depending on proximity to the coast or mountains. Scattered throughout the Dinaric Alps are small stone villages with terracotta roofs and green valleys stretching beneath them. More importantly, many rural homes aren't connected to the national grid at all. Independent solar systems are fully legal and widely used. People rely on sunlight, natural spring water, and small backyard gardens, and this lifestyle is completely accepted. No inspections, no harassment, no red tape. Living costs are another major attraction. In the inland regions, an off-grid or semi-off-grid lifestyle typically costs $550 or $700 per month, including food, gas, internet, and basic health care. Towns like Nikšić Cetinje or Baran offer fresh local produce, quiet neighborhoods, and prices so low that many Americans are genuinely shocked when they pay their first month of expenses. Residency for Americans is also remarkably straightforward. Many expats open a small company, which costs only a few €100 per year, to receive a one-year residency easily renewable. Others simply buy property, and owning real estate in Montenegro is often enough to qualify for residency. You don't need hundreds of thousands like Western European golden visas, and there's no harsh income requirement. This is one of the easiest residency paths in Europe today. Healthcare is another pleasant advantage. Private insurance typically costs $30 and $50 per month, and a private doctor visit runs $20, $35. In major cities like Podgorica or Tivat, you'll find doctors trained in Serbia, Croatia, or EU countries, highly skilled, affordable, and far less stressful than the US healthcare system. Of course, Montenegro has its realities. Much of the country is mountainous, meaning steep, winding roads, especially in the northern regions. Winters in the north can be cold and snowy, which may not suit everyone. But along the coast in places like Bar Budva or Ulcinj, the climate is mild, warmer, and known for being exceptionally friendly to foreigners and retirees. Montenegro isn't for people seeking bright lights or busy entertainment. It's for those who want quiet mountains behind them, the sea in front of them, and a life they can shape with their own hands. A life where growing vegetables using solar power and living slowly isn't unusual. It's normal. Here you don't just find scenery. You find the peace your later years truly deserve. 1. Philippines. A tropical paradise for Americans who want to live cheaply, freely, and close to the ocean. The Philippines is one of the rare places in the world where older Americans often feel both comforted and renewed at the same time. Comforted because English is widely spoken, because people smile easily, and because the culture values family kindness and community. Renewed because life slows down. Costs drop dramatically, and the sea is so close you can hear the waves greeting you every morning. If you want to live off-grid with warm sunshine, affordable food, and a community that truly welcomes Americans, the Philippines is the real paradise. Many islands and rural regions allow wooden homes, bamboo houses, and simple eco-homes without the complicated permits typical in the United States. You can install independent solar systems, use water tanks, or collect rainwater, all fully legal and commonly practiced. Off-grid homes sit along quiet beaches in coconut groves or on hills overlooking the ocean. For anyone seeking a life of freedom, This is something almost impossible to find elsewhere today. Land prices vary by island, but they remain impressively accessible, $8,000, $25,000 per acre, depending on location and proximity to the water. Compared to Hawaii, Florida, or California, these numbers are almost unbelievable. Food costs are even more surprising. A whole chicken is just $3 river salmon, and eggs are 40 to 70% cheaper than in the United States, and tropical fruit is abundant, sweet, and inexpensive. Monthly off-grid living costs usually fall between $400 to $650, covering food, utilities, water, internet, and basic needs. Residency is another major advantage. The SRV program has attracted more than 30,000 Americans, making it one of the easiest long-term residency options for retirees in Asia. You only need a $10,000, $20,000 bank deposit, depending on age. The SRV is open both to retirees and to early retirees starting at age 35. And beyond the paperwork, the Philippines genuinely welcomes Americans not only through simple regulations, but through sincere friendliness and respect. Healthcare is far better than many expect. Major cities like Manila and Cebu offer international standard hospitals with modern equipment and doctors trained in the US, Australia, or Singapore. A private consultation costs only $10 to $20, and medical procedures are so inexpensive compared to American prices that many expats say they feel financially free for the first time. This is why so many Americans choose to settle in places like Cebu, Dumaguete, and Bohol areas known for affordability, safety, and strong expat communities. Of course, the Philippines has its realities. The country sits in a region with seasonal typhoons, and internet quality varies from island to island. Some areas have strong, stable connections, while smaller remote islands may experience weaker service, especially during the rainy season. But for those who truly want to live near the sea, grow their own food, rely on solar power, and rediscover peace, these are challenges to prepare for, not reasons to walk away. The Philippines is not where you go to escape the world. It's where you go to find yourself again, in the waves, in the sunlight, and in a community that treats you like family from the moment you arrive. America today has become too expensive, too loud, and too stressful for many people to age peacefully. Bills keep rising, the noise never stops, and the regulations seem to multiply every year, making simple living feel like a luxury few can afford. Meanwhile, the countries we explored together offer something the United States no longer sells. Peace, real peace without noise, without pressure, without unnecessary restrictions. When you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, you don't need more rules. You don't need more people telling you how to live. What you need is freedom, the freedom to breathe clean air, the freedom to sleep without fearing the next bill. The freedom to finally live the life you once dreamed of, but never had the chance to create. If any of these countries touched your heart, even for a moment, comment its number below. I'd love to know which destination gave you hope again. And if there's another country you want us to explore next, tell us. Discover Globe Places. Top 10 is always here to walk with you on your next journey. Don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to Discover Globe Places Top 10 so you never miss the upcoming adventure stories that will take you to places where simple living becomes normal again.